Iran has agreed to the basis of a nuclear deal. The CBC's Nala Ayed has the details for us. Nala.
Peter, more than a decade in the making, this potential deal isn't based on trust, says the U.S. president, but on verification. It's been an approach questioned from the start, speaking directly to a distrusted foe after more than 3 decades of animosity. But the last 8 days of continuous negotiations, the longest involving a U.S. Secretary of State since the 1978 Camp David talks, also produced results. Unexpected, surprisingly detailed results, hailed by the U.S. president as preferable to another Middle East war.
It is a good deal, a deal that meets our core objectives. This framework would cut off every pathway that Iran could take to develop a nuclear weapon.
Under the historic agreement, which must still be spelled out and implemented, Iran would reduce the number of its centrifuges by 2/3. It would enrich uranium only to a level necessary for fuel and medical uses. It would be subject to unprecedented verification, toughest in history. And only after verification of key steps would sanctions then be gradually lifted. The talks, slipping more than 2 days past a self-imposed deadline, went on for nearly 8 hours yesterday between the U.S. and Iran, while critics were declaring them a failure.
Doesn't it look a little unseemly when the greatest nation in the world, their Secretary of State, keeps begging for another day of negotiations?
But while other foreign ministers came and went, the U.S. Secretary of State stayed on and today defended that decision.
There will be no sunset. Many transparency measures will be in place indefinitely into the future.
In Iran, hardliners balked, but many celebrated the agreement as the possible start of the end of their long-time isolation. Unusually, Obama's speech even carried live on state television.
All of the participants in this process were interested in seeing to it that this resolution gets implemented, that if we reach an agreement, we can implement the agreement. We're not looking for excuses to violate them.
But not everyone is celebrating tonight. Israel has long said Iran cannot be trusted, and U.S. allies, among other Middle East nations, also feel threatened, and Obama is going to have to sell it. But with this deal in place for the Mideast, it could mean significant change. As the U.S. president said, if the deal is implemented, it also offers Iran a chance at coming in from the cold. There are major differences to be ironed out before the deal is signed and implemented by July 1st. But they're now ready to start drafting it. Peter.
Nala is in Switzerland tonight. Thanks, Nala.